10 seconds. Good morning and welcome to your Meet Your Future campaign. I'm Sarah and I'm part of the Bridge GM team at Greater Manchester Combined Authority. Meet Your Future was launched in April 2019 to enable more young people like you to meet with employers whilst experiencing different workplaces. Over the past 12 months, we've been speaking to young people from Greater Manchester to find out how you've been feeling and how you feel you should be supported into your future. We've been listening and we've learned a lot, and we've developed a suite of information, resources and services that are there to help you. This can be found on GMAX, and I'll pop the link into the chat, which many of you have already been familiar with, but please speak to your teacher if you want to find out more. We've adapted the Meet Your Future campaign to better fit what you've been telling us. Meet Your Future allows you to join sessions and chat with Greater Manchester and national employers about growth sectors across Greater Manchester, different pathways and the vast array of careers opportunities that are available to you in the future right here in Greater Manchester. In this session, you'll hear from Michelle Tomlin-Flack, Strategic Lead for Employment and Support at 4 Housing. Hopefully this session will inform you, inspire you and show you why you should be hopeful and optimistic about your future in Greater Manchester. Throughout the session, please make use of the question box for questions and we'll cover these in the Q&A session. But for now, I'm delighted to introduce you to Michelle.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're okay and had a good week off last week. I'm Michelle Tomlin-Flack and I'm Strategic Lead at 4 Housing, and I'm going to present to you today about volunteering and Volunteering Week. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Next one, please.
Sorry.
Okay. So what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to give you an introduction into 4 Housing, the place where I work, a little bit of information about what the third sector is, some information about careers in social housing, why people volunteer, and some personal experience on what impact volunteering has for me on my development and my career, but also why I'm volunteering my time today. Some information about where you can volunteer as a young person, and then I've actually put a task together as an after session if you'd like to learn some more about volunteering and what you can do. Next slide, please. Okay, so 4 Housing. So we're a landlord, a social housing landlord, and we have over 24,000 homes. We deliver lots of services for ourselves and for other landlords as well. So we're a social purpose landlord, social purpose business, which impacts communities by reinvesting. So all the money that we collect from rents gets reinvested. It's a non-for-profit, so nobody makes large sum of money like private companies do. Next slide, please. I just wanted to show where we operate. So I'm based actually in Salford, in Eccles, and we've got properties covering the northwest. The majority in Salford, where the majority of our properties are, and in Knowsley as well as Oldham as well. Small amount of properties, 917 in Oldham. Next slide, please. So that's a little bit of information about 4 Housing. The employees in the third sector, so this includes small and medium-sized enterprises, which is small enterprises with a small amount of employees, less than 250. Social enterprises are businesses that are changing the world for the better and reinvesting the profits. Non-governmental organisation, big charities really, such as like Wildlife Trust, conservation volunteers, and places like that, and they're known as NGOs. And then large charities, so some of the biggest charities in the UK, non-for-profit, Age UK, things like Alzheimer's Society, and they also include non-profits such as housing associations, and there's many housing associations in Greater Manchester. So why am I here? I wanted to give you a little bit of information as well about careers in housing. It's busy, there's lots and lots to do. I've worked in housing for the last 10-11 years and I absolutely love it. It's really diverse, lots of different people work there, lots of different roles, anything really. You know, I've put a few on there from admin, surveying, finance, HR, as well as things like employability, and that's what I've done working in housing, like I said, since 2010. It's a two-way street. So with housing, obviously we give you a competitive salary to make sure that we get really good people working for us. We get a really good holiday entitlement and a range of benefits. So we get really good pension, we get lots of health plans, lots of benefits to work in housing. I've put on there some information about vacancies, about the type of job roles that we've got for housing. Next slide, please. And then in addition to this, I wanted to show a couple of different live vacancies, how much we pay, and sort of, you know, hours a week that we work. So one of these is we're looking for a few people looking to provide support for people in Cheshire West, in Chester. I wanted to show this because I thought it was great, because we're looking for 5 passionate and enthusiastic people as prevention support workers, working with people who are coming over from Ukraine under the Ukraine sponsorship scheme. So this is a really good caring role, something that is, you know, it's something that will tick a lot of boxes for a lot of people who want to support people, but who really want to make a difference on this. And I've highlighted that people need experience of working with vulnerable adults and some understanding of the support needs and the issue facing our customers. So people that will be living in our tenancies in one of our houses. So I just wanted to show there that this salary is £22,000 a year, so you can actually see it in how much money and how much income this would bring in. And then the next slide is another role. This is slightly less money at just over 20,000 a year. This is a business support advisor. So this is actually working in our teams for housing in Salford. This one is administrative support, dealing with face-to-face, telephone and email inquiries. The reason why I've put this one on is because all we're asking for this is that you have some experience of dealing with customers on a face-to-face basis. So that can be anything. It could be working in River Island or somewhere where you've had some interaction with people. So it might be that you've volunteered and you've provided some support and some customer service. So you've got that customer service experience. Obviously on there, because it's business support and you're using a computer, it's things like communication, interpersonal skills and good IT skills. That again is 36 hours a week. Little bit less salary, but not as, you don't need as much experience to do that. Next slide, please. So what I want you to do at this point is just have a think about what your dream job is, what it would look like, what you would do. Is there a particular company that you'd want to work for? Do you have any hobby or interests that you love that you might be able to get paid for? So if you answer yes to any of the questions I've just said above, how would you get experience with this company or doing the actual job role? So have a think about that. And if you've answered no, but you're just not sure about what you want to do. To be honest, when I left school, I've ended up doing something completely different. The majority of people do, unless you want to become a certain, like a vet or a doctor, and that's something you've always wanted to do. So if you've answered no, how would you get the experience to know what career may suit you, and how would you like to start your experience as well? Just have a think about that, because it is important as you come out of school, maybe go to college if that's what you want to do, or an apprenticeship or volunteering. So have a think about that. So next slide, please. So volunteering might be the answer really to that question. So some statistics here from the government say that 62%, so about 28 million people, have volunteered in some way in the last 12 months. So this is a little bit out of date because it was 2020 to 2021. And 41%, so that's about 90 million people, have volunteered at least once a month. So there's obviously some reason why people volunteer as well. Next slide, please. Now, don't laugh at my picture. This is me on the left. I just wanted to just provide some information really about my own experience. So when I left school, I didn't do really well at school. So I ended up doing my GCSEs when I was 20. And then that's when my volunteering started. So I volunteered in lots of different ways. So I was a family support worker for a company called Home Start, and I supported a family, and I did that for a year. Realised that's something similar to what I wanted to do. So the second year, I actually volunteered in a high school as a mentor for Wright Robinson High School, which is based in Gorton. I did that for a year, and I supported a group of young women, aged 14, 15, who were just about to do the GCSEs. So I did that for a year. And then my final year, I volunteered at a place in Moss Side. It's not there, unfortunately, anymore. And I did a full year there of all different things while I was there. And following that, I actually gained employment from that in my first year out of uni. So this picture obviously is a little while ago. So as part of what I've done volunteering as well, and throughout my career, I've done lots of other things. So I've volunteered gingerbread. So I volunteered for quite a while there, working with teenage parents. And I've also volunteered with Age UK as a telephone befriender over COVID. So I've kept volunteering throughout, and it's something that I'm really passionate about, as you probably can tell. I've also done lots of volunteering as in paid volunteer roles, so as a volunteer coordinator. So I worked at a housing association called First Choice Homes, and I supported many people, many of their tenants, into volunteering, into work experience, and got them into work, into paid employment. It's just having that start and just learning what you want to do and getting that experience. So, you know, I've volunteered probably 5 or 6 years out of my career, and it's certainly helped me understand me as a person, but also I've supported so many people, and that's the best feeling ever when you're making that difference as well in people's lives. So that's why I'm volunteering today, because if I can inspire one of you to volunteer and to get that experience, to give something back, but also to help you with what you want to do. So you've worked for many years, and you need to be happy, and you need to, you know, be good at what you do and love what you do. So work isn't work, it's something you love to do. Next slide, please. So on top of obviously the experience, getting the experience, many people volunteer for different reasons. So I've supported people as young as 9 who have volunteered, but I've also supported people in their 80s and in the 90s who career isn't there. It's not something that it's a career, and why they want to volunteer. So I thought I'd share this with you. So again, this is a community life survey from 2021. And there's all different reasons there, you know, that people want to improve things, want to help people. The cause was important. I felt there was a need in my community, use existing skills, family and friends did it. And as you can see, as it goes up, it then starts talking about, it helps you get on with it, with your career. Helps you get a recognised qualification. So people do it for all different reasons, you know, being connected as well to other people, especially if something is affecting you and it's affected your life, then it might be a good time to volunteer and support with your experience as well. Next slide, please. So just wanted to give you some information about volunteering and all the different age groups. This first slide is obviously British Heart Foundation. So they, according to the national survey, the millennials, and I'm glad I've got that right because I've been practicing that word and got it wrong all the time. They say that under 35s volunteer more than any other generation, which I was quite shocked about, to be honest. It's obviously British Heart Foundation, they're a national organisation. It's very well known, and there's all different ways that you can volunteer with them. So with that, over a quarter of 25 to 34-year-olds currently giving up their time in the charities, compared to just over 1 in 8. So the older you get, the less likely you are to volunteer. Next slide, please. So I started doing this, and it was the 10 reasons why you should volunteer. And I've already given you many reasons why you should volunteer, but actually you only need one. Just one thing about why, whether it's you want to give something back, you want to test something before, or you want to work in a company, and you can inquire. Many companies do let you volunteer there. You only actually need one reason. That's all you need. Next slide, please. So why? So when it comes to hiring people, the figures are clear. Employers love it, and they really do. It's great when you're being interviewed. It's great when you're being interviewed to say, what, give some examples, and you can say, I've done this. I've got all this experience, and I've done it as a volunteer and not been paid for it. 82% of hiring managers asked by Deloitte, which is a global organisation. I've worked with Deloitte through their Business in the Community project, but 82% of their managers said they would prefer to take on someone who's been a volunteer, who's got that experience. And in a survey involving over 10,000 people aged over 18, 77% said that volunteering had improved their mental health, with just over half saying that it improved their physical health. So that's mental health and physical health, and really helped combat isolation, with 77% of 18 to 24-year-olds agreeing with this. And I think with COVID, obviously it's had such an impact that volunteering has actually grown over COVID over the last couple of years. So, and compared with 68% with all ages, 25 to 34-year-olds. So, you know, there's not just the career element, it's your mental health, it's isolation, you know, it's your physical health in lots of reasons as well. Next slide, please. So what I've done is put some examples of where you can volunteer. Honestly, there's so many. The end of this, I've actually put together a little little slide of all the different places with some links of where you can go to volunteer. There's so many at so many different ages. Some, you know, maybe not take somebody who's under 16, for example, but there are definitely volunteering opportunities. I've put Prince's Trust on there because I'm actually applying to volunteer there myself, and so it's any ages. Next slide, please. Another example is the cadets. So one of my friend's son goes to the cadets, absolutely loves it, and he's a youth team volunteer. So I thought I'd add that because I've got a little bit of experience with that as well. They provide all different, it's really fun, but in addition, it provides so many life skills and they do all different things. So as a volunteer with badges, you can volunteer from age 7, which is amazing, or you can do the cadets from 11 to 18, and they do everything from first aid, so that's what the picture is on there, and all different, obviously young people in the background at all different ages. You can even design your own role with them. So different fun activities, outdoor events, summer camps, they do so much, as well as sort of behind the scenes support, so in their offices and things like that. Everything, all the volunteer opportunities that I've mentioned throughout my presentation, you get so much support, so you're not ever wondering what you're meant to be doing. There'll always be a volunteer coordinator who will help and guide and support you through the experience. Next slide, please. So the Learn to Lead from the Manchester Youth Zone is a 12-week leadership and volunteering programme. So you can do this from 14 to 19 or up to 21 if you've got some additional support needs. There's also that in the National Citizenship Service, the NCS, which is for 16 and 17-year-olds. And this exists to engage, unite, empower young people and to help build your confidence. Manchester Community Central has lots of information. I've actually put a link on there, and I've provided, like I mentioned earlier, the slide as well. So there's lots of support and lots of information on Community Central. Next slide, please. So just some further information on the NCS. So this is designed for 16 and 17-year-olds. It's a youth programme and it runs every summer and every autumn during school holidays. It's about promoting and being a young person without all the responsibilities of being an adult. The participants live away from home and get a taste of independence. It's about getting a group of young people together, just giving you some experience and setting you up for your life after school. Helps to give you new skills by tackling a passion, a project of your choosing. And it gives you a dedicated platform for young people where you can speak up and tackle real issues that are close to you and close to your home. The experience lasts just a few weeks, but actually the impact, we know it lasts a lot longer. And since in the last 11 years, nearly 600,000 young people have taken part in NCS. And NCS was certainly something that we got involved with in my previous role when I was a volunteer coordinator, because it had such a good, strong impact on the young people, and gives just so much life experience. Next slide, please. There's another example here. So this was actually this is actually from Twitter. It's a tweet, and this was when it was Mental Health Week, and the young person in the blue t-shirt at the front was actually one of the young support junior play workers. So Manchester Young Lives often have young people going in to support with mental health and working in schools, and just thought it was a really good picture to show it's not just going in working somewhere quite corporate. You can volunteer at different projects, really supporting people and your peers as well. Next slide. And then some other experience. So work experience. Work experience is slightly different than volunteering, as work experience tends to be on a short term, so you have an agreement really. And I've put on there placements are typically short term, between 4 and 16 hours a week. You can do this anywhere. I've put on there you can get them through the GMCA, you can get them from the Job Centre Plus or through organisations such as Housing. This example here is actually British Heart Foundation that I mentioned before, and it's really invaluable, especially when you're starting to employ for jobs, as you're always hearing what experience have you got. So work experience might be a route for you. Next slide, please. So this is actually where I work. This is actually at the side of my office. So we have a skills centre in Salford on Eccles New Road, and we do support young people with work experience. So we've got, at the moment, we're an approved centre, so we work with people who pupils from the pupil referral units. So what happens there is they get experienced with multi-trades, brickwork, tiling. We give lots of different qualifications from entry level to level 1 in multi-trades. Some pictures there of what it looks like internal. We're also a gas centre as well. And what we do is we provide different work experience projects with other providers, so including Skills Support for Growth, which is we work with anybody from 14, 15 years old through to 25 and give them the work experience that they need, as well as some support, one-to-one support. So lots of different work experience as well there. It's okay, can move on. So as an after task, are you interested in volunteer or work experience? I would really encourage you to contact organisations to find out about the opportunities that they offer to young people under 18. There's so many out there. I have provided, as I've mentioned throughout, I have provided a list for you to do some research, and I do really encourage you to apply, because it can really make a difference. It's on your terms, so you can say, you know, I can do this amount of volunteering, and generally, unless it's a sort of more structured role, then, you know, the people who you want to volunteer with generally will agree to your terms. So I encourage you to apply. And next slide. And that's it from me. And so I just wanted to, I have, as I've mentioned, provided you the list, so you'll get that, and you can, there's a full list of opportunities there. But I just wanted to find out if you had any questions for me.
That was absolutely brilliant to hear lots of information about volunteering and your experience as well. We've had quite a few questions through.
Okay.
So one of the questions we've had through is, which volunteering moment has impacted most on your life?
Wow, that's a question. I think probably when I was working as a family support worker, that's many years ago now, but I supported a family, and it was it was very early on in my career. I was actually still at university. It was my second year at university, and I needed a lot of additional support, but I had a volunteer coordinator who could support me with that. But the experience I got made me realise that that's what I really wanted to do. I really wanted to support people and make that difference. To be honest, I've had quite a lot of you know, if a volunteer gets a job, if it just makes, you can see the difference it makes in people's lives. So there's been lots of, I could give you lots of great stories about like my experience and what a difference it's made.
Brilliant. And so can you put volunteering on your CV?
You can. On the end of my CV, I've still got all my volunteering on there. That, like I said, was many years ago when I was a student. It shows that you're willing to try something new, that your work, it's obviously unpaid, but it just gives that edge to maybe somebody who's got the similar experience as my slide shows, working with big companies, national companies. They would prefer to have somebody with volunteer on their CV.
Brilliant. And we've had another question as well. How do you get experience working with vulnerable people when you're just leaving school?
Again, volunteering. So generally, if you want to get, there's so many organisations out there. So I mentioned Manchester Community Central. So you can apply for volunteering. Lots of volunteer centres that you can go to ask, where should I volunteer if I'd like to do this? Even, you know, even looking, so one of my examples for housing, if you see a job and you think I'd love to do that, then contact the employer as well, just to find out if there is any route. And you know, it's a question. They can say yes or they can say no. Generally, if you go through a volunteer centre or through things like NCS, you tend to get some qualifications as well. So you can do lots of training. The only way for you to get experience, and it's a question that always comes about, that's the only way you're going to get experience is through either paid work, and then people will say, well, you haven't got the experience, or doing volunteering. It's a way, you know, I just mentioned working with the family. It was a really complex family that I worked with. And that really gave me a lot of experience of working with vulnerable adults as well as children, because with Home Start, you support the family, so they've got to have children under 5. It's just ask the question from the employer as well.
Brilliant, and that actually leads on to the next question as well. So how do you suggest we contact the organisations for work experience? Is it with a cover letter?
It is. You can obviously send an email, or you can pick up the phone and have a chat with them. Depends if so some employers, or some like with the volunteer centre, for example, they might want you to contact them. They might want you to apply to volunteer. So you might need a CV, and that might just say a little bit about you and your school and your predicted grades, for example. People know that if you're 14, even younger, as I mentioned about NCS and the cadets, not NCS, sorry, because they're older, with the cadets, you can actually put that on your CV. But people generally know that if you're a young person, that you're not going to have a lot of experience, you're not going to have a lot on your CV, but that's how you start building it up, and giving that something back tend to quit. Schools sometimes will provide, you know, we're looking at the moment working with through digital, because we really, for housing, we want to work with and support more of our community with getting online. And who best to do that but young people, and having that generation of having, you know, school, because generally are wizards at computers, whereas I'm not that great. So it's getting what you're good at, and you have got a lot of great skills there to share. So, you know, it's maybe school might be planning on doing something, or organisations like ours where we can get involved together. So there are opportunities out there.
And we've just had another one as well. So you mentioned your work experience, and it sounds amazing. So do you work with Salford Prue, or do you work with other pupil referral units and other schools?
So we work with, so we've got 2 sites. I've just shown the one that's based in Eccles. So we've actually got another site as well, which is in Knowsley, which is, you know, it's like 40 miles away. So at the moment we work with Salford schools, or Salford pupil referral, and they're with us for 4 days a week in the morning, and then in the afternoon I think they finish at 1:30, and then in the afternoon that's when we open it up, the centre, to the skills for growth, which is supporting people up to 25. We're doing in September a young women into construction, so that'll be working with Salford schools for young, I think the 15 and 16, so probably year 10, year 11 young women, because that's actually something that I haven't mentioned throughout, but with housing, construction is massive, because we build homes, we work in homes, you know, you've got anything from plumbers, electricians, to bricklayers, to roofers, you name it. It's, you know, we kind of do that, or we will contract to bigger companies to do that for us. So we do work with other schools as well.
That's absolutely amazing. And that's the last of the questions from us. So thank you so much for everything.
No, you're welcome. And I have, like I said, I've put together that list. So lots of opportunities, and there'll be more on top of that. That is just something I've put together.
Absolutely amazing. So thanks, Michelle, so much for your amazing presentation, and thank you for you all for attending as well. You should already have a session card so you can learn more about volunteering in the third sector, and we'll also send off the post task that Michelle's just mentioned in the list as well. But if you don't receive this, please just ask your teacher to share it with you. So remember, you can keep up to date with all things Meet Your Future at GMATs. And for teachers listening, I've also popped in the chat a link for feedback, and we'd really appreciate you to complete this on behalf of the students listening. Please take some time, as it's really important to us. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you all have a fantastic morning.